everyone, it's Jan, and today we are asking the big burning question: what is Tonverk and what can it do? We are taking a look at its features, break down one of the songs I made on it, combine it with Modular, and give its Autosampler feature a spin. So let's go! First of all, what does Tonverk mean? If you are familiar with Nordic languages, you will already know it's a werk that makes toner. In English language, that's sound factory. And what is it? I'd say Tonverk is a polyphonic sampling instrument, sequencer and effects processor. Let's take a quick look at the backside. We have a momentary power button, two USB-C ports for power, data, sampling or using it as audio interface, an SD card slot, a Kensington security slot, a full-sized MIDI trio, two inputs for processing or sampling external audio sources, two individual outs, two main outs and the headphone output. The USB-C power connector has a screw to keep it firmly in place. Tonverk has 8 audio tracks, each with 8 voice polyphony, but it also has 4 buses, 3 sends and a mix bus. You can route audio tracks to the mix bus, to the buses, to the sends and to the separate outputs. It also has an autosampler that lets you automatically record patches from another synth into multi-sampled instruments, even with velocity layers. On top of the classic Digi effects, it comes with a ton of brand new effects. Each track has a typical Digi configuration with multi-mode filter, bass width filter, overdrive and the new configurable filter overdrive routing, but also 2 effect LFOs, 2 voice LFOs and a modulation envelope. There's an arpeggiator and a chord mode, and there are many more features I can't possibly all name here. For example, track scale now has more tuplet variants. Bass effects can be parameter locked on their bass. We have instant pattern jumps, MIDI retricks, MIDI arpeggiator, and what not. Tonverk has 4 audio machines. Single player is similar to the Digitakt one-shot machine, but 8 voice polyphonic. Multiplayer is similar in functionality to extended sound fonts. In fact, it does read extended sound font files that you will put on the SD card. Subtracks gives you 8 different drum sounds on one track. And finally, MIDI tracks. Let's load a drum set. This is one of my drum sets and you can find it in the factory content of the Tonverk. With a subtrack machine, this bottom row of keys becomes subtracks. Each subtrack triggers one of the 8 drum set sounds. Let's play some tricks. On the subtracks, we can adjust volume, overdrive, filter and tune. I'll come back to the effects in detail later. For now, let's get this pattern going. So let's add a Chronopitch. It's a granular pitch shifter. One of my favorite of the new effects. Listen to this, so good. Let's mix it in a bit. Add a touch of the dual comb filter. I want even more effects in this, so I route track 1 to bus 1. I'll add the frequency warper just a little. And finally, throw the dirt shaper on it for some nice distortion. Because everything is better with distortion. I'm sorry, but this just sounds too good. And that was only one track and one bass. We still have plenty of tracks, basses, stands in the mix channel to cause even more mischief. Let's check out an actual song. So we have a bass drum, and this cool, weird, granular-esque rumble, which comes from the classic Elektron delay. I parameter locked the wet-dry because I wanted to have it stronger on this trick. This is how it sounds 100% wet. It's modulated by an FX LFO and pushed into a bit of distortion. This bass drum and a few other tracks are routed into bus 4. On bus 4, I've got the dirt shaper set to max. A little rectification and some noise, which really adds a lot of texture, especially to the sub bass. A really cool effect. Next, the hi-hat, actually a pad sample. I randomized the sample start for a more organic feel with one of the voice LFOs. One of my favorite things to do, actually. It doesn't even sound like a hi-hat until I max the dirt shaper's rectification. If I turn it off, it sounds like this. Also on this one, there's a little bit of Chronopitch. And here we have the plucky main motif. It's actually this sound. And the star is once again Chronopitch. On track 5, we got this mysterious ascending and descending sound. Turn off the effects and it's a breathy noise. With one of the voice LFOs, slowly tuning it up and down. This breathy noise goes into 2 comb filters. Tonverk's comb is actually 2 detunable pairs, so with 2 combs we have 4 comb lines. This goes into the frequency shifter on bus 2. It really shows the magic of the Tonverk, how it is able to completely transform a sound into something new. And finally some reverb via Send 3. On this track I loaded up some modular noises. They go into the phaser, from there into the degrader, where its dropout function perforates the sound. This also goes into a bus where we are greeted once again by Chronopitch and the delay. Finally, this sound is playing a 4-note chord. And let me just turn all the effects off. And for the trance gate chop, I modulated the bass width filter with a square LFO. And with everything turned back on, it gets really wide and spacey. Let's try the Autosampler. I've got the Analog 4 here, and I've loaded up this cool clank sound from my Analog 4 Cursor sound pack. The Analog 4's output is connected to Tonverk's input, and Tonverk's MIDI out goes into the Analog 4's MIDI in. By pressing the sample button, we enter the sampler, and by pressing down, we get to the Autosampler. Here we select the MIDI track and the source, and by hitting yes, Tonverk will probe for latency and decay. Press right, and now we can dial in how many notes we want to sample by choosing the range, the distance between the notes, and how many velocity layers we want to have. For this quick tutorial, I'll turn everything down, so we only get a few samples. Press right again, set the note length, and finally press start. Tonverk now samples as many notes from the Analog 4 as we specified. The Autosampler gives our new instrument a random name, in this case, Incomprehensible Poem. Now we press no, choose the multiplayer machine, load our incomprehensible poem, and it's ready to play. With Tonverk, we can turn our monosynth into polysynth. Let's do a fun combination of Tonverk with Modular, using its separate inputs and outputs. On output C, I'm sending clicks, which act as the clock source for the Modular. And since I'm programming the clicks, I can actually break the clock up, as you can see here. The error instrument's liquid glitcher goes into input A, and Gießke's snow drum goes into input B. I put filter and delay on the no drum, and filter plus distortion on the liquid glitcher. The liquid glitcher really comes alive with some overdrive or distortion. I've also prepared some drums on the other tracks of the Tonverk. I'm blending in the liquid glitcher. And the no drum. Fun will now commence. And with that, it's time to give Tonverk its rightful spot on my synthesizer stand. By the way, if you need some fresh sample and sound food, on dissonantwitchcraft.com I've recently released new sound and sample packs. For example, Voltage Chaos, 666 sounds created with obscure Eurorack modules, drum machines and effects. Or my packs Hypervault and Core Vault, a must-have for Digitone 2. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Especially now, since YouTube's algorithm really wants to show you more things you don't want to watch, and the best way to combat that is hitting that stupid bell icon. In the description are affiliate links to Thomann and Perfect Circuit. Anything you purchase after clicking these links helps to support this channel at no extra cost to you. There's also a Patreon. In any case, take care and see you around. Bye!